Hello and welcome to managingwithmoney.com. Please have a pen and notepad ready. Take as many notes as you like. You can also rewind our video if you need to listen to something again. So let's get started. In today's UK society, debt seems to be a fact of life. It would be difficult living your life without borrowing money at some stage. Especially for expensive items. For example, a place to live, a car, furniture, mobile phone or white goods. Research shows the average UK household owing £12,887, even before mortgages. The majority of people can organise their personal lives and finances, and budget for the payments. Unfortunately, some of the unforeseen situation that life may throw at you may upset your financial balance. At times you may accumulate debt without realising how large that debt has grown. This course is designed to give you information that could help you avoid problems with future debt. We will also show you how to manage unforeseen situations. Please remember, if at some stage in your life you have a financial problem, there is free help available to you. In this course we will be talking about debt, how to avoid paying too much for loans, universal credit. This is available to people unemployed and in some situations, people who are also working, fuel poverty, and how to get the best deal to help save your money and reduce your outgoings. Financial service products, for example insurance, savings. How to maximize your income including other ways to create extra income. Budgets. We give you the tools you need to set an accurate budget. This will help you to live within your income. I'll start with how easy it can be to build a debt mountain. In fact, a debt mountain is the easiest mountain you'll ever climb. And like a real mountain, you can cause serious damage to yourself if you fall. For young people coming from our average or low-income families in the UK today, and they decide to take the higher education route to employment and become a student, they will have a head start at building their own debt mountain over other young people who choose a different route to employment or self-employment. Students from average or low-income families usually have to take a student loan. This can end up being up to £50,000 if living expenses such as rent and food are also financed within the loan over the further education period. The government's idea is, if you have a good education, then you will have a better future and have a well-paid job. So therefore, you can afford to pay off your student loan from future higher earnings. Let's start with credit cards. You have probably heard of a credit score and how easy it is to get your personal credit score. But who owns the data that is held on in these huge databases? Is it the government? Well, no. There are three main credit reference agencies. These are commercial companies. They are Experian, Equifax and Call Credit. They gather personal information about you from different sources, including the electoral roll, county court judgments and financial institutions, plus any loan agreement or credit card application you make. They make money by selling and sharing this information to lenders and other service providers in the form of credit reports. If you have applied for any form of credit, even free credit, you may have heard or read the term. Your information may be shared with other companies to help stamp out fraud. Well, this statement is true. The information is used to help prevent fraud. But credit companies including banks and building societies can also buy this data and use it to find new customers. They can quickly see who pays on time, who has a good credit score. They can then approach you via advertising on television, radio, direct mail or the internet, to offer you pre-approved credit cards. This is how you can collect various credit cards from various banks. You can find yourself very quickly, and without asking, access to a huge amount of approved credit. Remember, credit card companies such as Visa and MasterCard do not lend you the money. They only handle the transaction and make a very small fee from each transaction. It's estimated that there are 10,000 payment card transactions made every second. Yes, every second. Around the world. So if you have shares in Visa or MasterCard, you can see how profitable this can be. The banks provide the money. The charge for using debit cards may be included in your bank charges when you use a credit card. If you pay the full amount that's due every month, you do not pay interest. If you're careful, using credit cards can be one of the cheapest and easiest ways to borrow money short term, as long as you pay off the balance before the due date. Problems can occur when something unforeseen happens, and you can't pay the full balance, so you can only pay the minimum amount. There can be lots of unforeseen events that could happen to you in the future. We will cover these later in the course. The minimum amount is usually a very tempting low amount. Once you choose to pay the minimum amount, you have to pay interest on the balance. The bank then starts to make money from you in the form of monthly interest payments. The amount of interest depends on the APR rate, and we will explain this again later in the course. For some people, they have to miss a payment and they may have maxed out on a couple of cards. Once this happens, the credit card route to borrowing money stops. The information is shared with the three main credit agencies: Experian, Equifax and Call Credit. Once this happens, your name is taken off the good credit risk list and your credit score drops. This will mean that this line of so-called normal credit is no longer available to you. You may find yourself later in life in a situation when you need credit. You may have bills that must be paid. For example, electricity or gas. Or you must pay the rent or mortgage. These situations are priority debts. We talk about priority debts and non-priority debts later in the course. Once your bank say no to more credit, your bank will probably cut any overdraft and start to ask for their money back. A lot of people find banks very unhelpful when they need them the most. Again, we cover how to deal with this situation later in the course. As your credit score has fallen, you now become a bad credit risk. There are other companies that will lend you money. The APR or interest charged is much higher. Some of the companies that do lend money to people with a low credit score, they are Payday Loans, Provident Doorstep Loans, Bright House, HP Loan Companies, Loan Sharks. We cover these in much more detail later in the course. We also give you alternatives, for example maximizing your income, where you can borrow money at a very low interest. Other ways to make more or additional income. Again, we cover these and much more later in the course. One thing we must say before we end the session: if at some time in the future, or if you find yourself struggling now, you are not alone. There are organizations out there that will help you, and help is free. Please never pay for anyone to help you get out of debt. This is just throwing what little good money you may have left down the drain. All the help and advice these companies provide is free to you if you ever need it. In June 2014, the Express newspaper reported that over 100,000 people were declaring themselves bankrupt every year. Always remember, help is there for you if you need it, and you are certainly not alone. There is no shame in slipping into debt. Being in debt doesn't make you a bad person. Even the most powerful people in the UK today, and that's the UK government, are still struggling and borrowing money to try and balance the UK's budget. The UK debt is around £4.8 trillion, or £78,000 for every person in the UK. Bad debt can lead to excessive stress, the breakdown of relationships, broken families, and in some cases suicide. The advice we give could save you a lot of money with interest payments. For some people, their self-respect. Yes, our Managing with Money course could save you a lot more than money. Thank you for watching.